guys, welcome back. It's Saturday. I got done doing what I had to do early. We're going to get this Spy Hunter cabinet sanded down and painted today. So basically what I need to do is sand down both sides in the front and the top. And then we need to put some white paint on the sides of the cabinet, let it dry for an hour or two, and then put tape it off, and then put the black on, and then peel the black, or peel that off, and then clear coat it. So first thing I want to do is, before I start sanding this, I'm going to take a pencil, we're going to go around and I'm going to circle spots that don't look good, that maybe need a little bit of that glazing filler. So let me grab a pencil and we'll mark some of these spots as I see them. Okay, so I'm going to go around and just look for anything that I think maybe needs a little filler. This isn't bad. There's some very, very minor chipping on the edges, which you won't see. And this is getting covered with vinyl too, the sides of the cabinet. So we don't have to get too critical with it. We're more worried about the front, which is visible at all times, and I missed two spots right there. All right, it's really about all I see. So we're gonna mix up some of this glazing filler here. I gotta clean my bench again. The fantastic U-pull makes it fantastic glaze. O'Reilly Auto Parts, it's like 20 bucks a container. Probably more than I need. We'll probably hit some of the edges as well if I have a little extra. So we'll put this on. It takes about 10 minutes to dry, and then we're going to sand it down with 180 grit, the cabinet, and then come back with a little 320 grit over top. Then we will be ready to get this thing painted. Now, on the last cabinet, I put an epoxy primer down as a sealer. We're not going to do that on this cabinet. We're going to do it a little bit differently, and I'll show you that when we go to it. The reason being is the sides are covered with vinyl, so we're not going to waste the product, the epoxy primer, because it's getting covered with vinyl. It's just a waste of time and money. So we're not going to worry about that. And these little pinholes, I don't even know why I'm filling them in, but whatever. Never going to see it through the vinyl. Those are those little brad nails that I put on there. And when you put this on, put it on one direction and then pull it the opposite direction or another direction. And all that does is keeps it, it fills it in better. Now the front obviously is important because you see the front. So we need to make sure that this looks good. But we get this painted tonight, or today, this afternoon. It'll be able to go in the basement tomorrow. It's not supposed to rain finally tomorrow. We've had rain and snow for the past 4 days. Mainly rain out this way. Yeah, I mixed up too much, but that's okay. This edge is a little bit messed up. Particle board, this is just what these edges do. They get flaky over time. This is already drying, so I'm gonna get the sander ready and we're gonna get this thing sanded down, blown off, and in the spray booth. Okay, this is just about ready to go in the spray booth. It's all 180'd and 320'd. If you saw me with that little block sander, what I like to do on these cabinets is I take that block sander on an angle and I just lightly take this edge down, just enough to give it a tiny, tiny little bevel. And what that does is it keeps it from future chipping, because originally this particle board's just cut straight and straight. So you have a real 90-degree edge there, and particle board's fragile, so anytime it gets rubbed, it wants to, you know, flake apart. So by putting that tiny little chamfer edge on there, it stops that from happening. Now, we got a couple spots that I broke through. Not worried about the sides, but we have a little spot here and a little bit around here. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna use. Let me grab it real quick here. It is just a 1K primer. You can get it on Amazon or you can buy it from Summit Racing. But this is what I use. It's an automotive primer, and I'm just going to hit the couple spots that I'm concerned about, because if I put black paint over this particle board that's showing right here, there's a good possibility that that particle board area is going to soak the paint up differently than the areas that I have the particle board, or that I have the primer on. So basically this surface here is the paint's gonna, I guess, not soak in as much here as it will where the particle board is. So we're just gonna take a little bit of this primer and just hit these couple areas. We're not gonna worry about sanding it afterwards, because we're just gonna go right over it. It'll be fine. So just one light coat. Just gotta turn that particle board primer color. We're not going for anything special here. And like I said, not worried about the sides, just the front. Now, while I have my sander out, I'm going to knock down this control panel real quick. I'm not going to paint it today because, oh, actually, could I paint it today? I could paint it today because I'm going to have black paint in my spray gun. Do I just do that? Maybe we'll do that. Coin door I'm going to have to use spray cans on, because I need to put that texture on there, and I don't know that the automotive paint over top of the textured Krylon would work or not. It might react and cause a problem, so we won't mess with that. But we could paint the control panel, so why not just sand it down, and we'll just paint this while we have the black out for the cabinet. So let me sand this real quick with some 80 grit, and then we'll hit it with some 180, and that'll be fine. We're not going crazy with this. Let me think here. You know, let me just sand it. We're not going to paint it with the cabinet, because if I put automotive paint over the bare metal, it's not good. Okay, I'd have to mix up some epoxy primer, and I'm not using epoxy primer on the cabinet, so we're gonna go ahead and stick with the spray can on this because the Krylon is a 5-in-1, has a built-in primer. So we'll just sand it down real quick while I have my sander out so that I don't have to do it later. Okay, I've already blown the cabinet off once, and I wiped it down with the spray away window cleaner. This gets all the extra dust and dirt out of the sanding marks and stuff like that. We're still going to tack cloth it off one more time, but next I'm going to go ahead and put the white on the two sides. Once I put 2-3 coats of white on, we're going to let it dry for about an hour and a half, and then tape off the sides, and then put the black on, untape the white, and then put some clear over the whole cabinet. I do need to go out there and mask off some areas that I don't want to get any overspray on, so I'm going to go do that right now, and then I'll come back, we'll mix up some white and get the white on the cabinet. Okay, now we're going to mix up some of this white paint. And I still have to tack cloth it off. We'll do that right before I put the white on. This is an automotive paint. This is called Olympic White. This is the white that GM used on all their pickup trucks and vans and stuff for a long, long time. It's just a nice bright white. Doesn't really matter. I'm just putting white on the sides of the cabinet just because I know the artwork has some white in it, and if it were to, if I put black underneath, it could potentially make the white look a little bit dingier. So by just putting some white on the side, we're just kind of brightening up the, if I left it gray and or if I painted it black. So we're going to mix this up. Probably just put 2 coats will probably be all we need. And then, like I said, I'll use my, oh boy, use my tack cloth here to wipe down the cabinet. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up, and we're going to go out there and wipe it down and get the, should be able to put both coats of white on right away, one right after another, and then we'll let it sit while I go do some other things, and we'll come back, tape it off, put the black on, and then clear it, and we'll be done with this cabinet. Okay. I ended up doing it a little bit differently. I put on 4 light coats rather than 2 heavy coats because my theory was it would dry a little bit quicker. Give it a little bit thinner coats, it dries quicker between coats. Now when I tape this off and put the black on, once I'm done with the black, I am going to clear the cabinet without clearing the white sides, because so all I'm doing is wasting material if I put clear on the sides. That's a nice smooth surface. It is a urethane paint, so it is plenty fine to stick vinyl to. So I look at it this way: why waste the money on extra product if it's not going to matter in the end because you're covering it anyways? That doesn't mean, you know, I wouldn't recommend putting vinyl over the particle board. I think it would turn out looking like crap. But with the primer on there and then the base coat, which is, like I said, urethane, it's totally fine. Vinyl will stick to that all day long and not cause a problem. So now I'm going to let this set for about an hour and a half, come back, tape off the sides, and then we're going to paint the back, the top, the front, clear those spots, untape it, and this cabinet is painted. Okay, it's been probably about 2 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and get the sides taped off, and then we're going to spray the black. Okay, cabinet is taped off now. I'm going to blow it off one more time just to wipe off the areas that have been sitting for a while. Now, I was going to put a satin clear over top of the black, but since I'm not putting clear on the sides, why waste the material and put satin clear over the front and top and stuff? I'm going to use single stage satin clear, or single stage satin black, rather than using, once again, more product that I don't need to waste. So I'm going to mix this up. I'm going to have to open up a new gallon of it because there's only a little bit left in there. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, if I'm not clearing the sides because vinyl's going over it, we can just use single stage black for the front. You don't have to put clear over this. This is a paint that takes a hardener. So long as you put the hardener in it, you're just fine. You don't need the clear coat. The only reason why, like on the Journey cabinet, I cleared that is the blue paint needed to have a clear coat over it because the blue paint is visible at all times. So that's why that cabinet got a satin clear over the black and the blue. If that cabinet was also getting artwork, I would not have done satin clear over the black. So hopefully that makes sense. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixed up. This is a 4-to-1 mix, 4 parts paint, 1 part hardener, and maybe a little bit of reducer. I'm not sure yet. I might just spray it without reducer. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this mixed up, get it in the gun. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna run the tack cloth with the blowgun a little bit on the top and the front, and then we're gonna put some black on it. About 15-20 minutes after the black is on it, we're gonna peel the paper off and the cabinet will be painted. So I changed it a little bit from what I originally thought I was gonna do. And that happens sometimes, and sometimes you just adapt to what you come up with. Okay, paint's mixed up. I'm gonna go out there, blow it off, tack cloth it off. I'm gonna put 2 coats of black on. I have to wait about 10-15 minutes between coats of black. You wanna make sure that the black is completely dry and to the same shininess all the way through your paint job. If you have some shinier spots and duller spots, that will create your paint to be blotchy after your second coat. So long as it all uniformly dries in the first coat, apply the second coat. Once that dries, it'll all be nice and uniform. It won't be blotchy. You won't see streaks in it or anything like that. So I'm gonna tape both coats without talking between them. All right, guys, it is done. I took the paper off. I don't know if I showed that. I did show that on camera. And then I took the paper out of the inside of the cabinet. It's still drying. I have the heat on because I have to have this dry in the next 2 hours, 3 hours, because I have to paint some motorcycle fenders. So I have to be able to take this cabinet out of the spray booth so that I can bring in the motorcycle parts. So let's go take a look at it real quick and then we'll finish this up. Turned out real nice. Sides are nice and white, so that artwork will go on there nice. It's nice and smooth. Inside turned out nice. That piece of paper I could not take off because it's glued to the cabinet, so I had to kind of carefully spray around it because I couldn't put any tape on it or anything because then I would have ruined the label. But I took the paper out, worked really well, kept everything clean that I wanted to. Front looks really nice, especially where we used to have that free play button right there and then that other button right there. So that's it for this video, guys. We got a lot of parts I need to sandblast still. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have a little bit of time to do some sandblasting because I need to get that stuff sandblasted before the weather turns crappy again, or maybe Monday morning. We'll see what happens. But I got to pick up some bags of sand. So I want to get all the Spy Hunter parts sandblasted so that I can get those painted this week. Put them in the basement, open up another folding table, put a whole another batch of parts down there, get this cabinet down there either tonight or tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And then once we get the rest of the loose parts done for Spy Hunter, we can start putting it together. So basically we have Journey to put together with making a wiring harness. We have to put together Spy Hunter. We have to put together Stargate and get a monitor rebuilt and a working monitor for Stargate. And we have to put together Kickman and make a harness for Kickman. So a lot of work to do. And I gotta get a monitor working for Kickman as well. So tons of videos coming. It's gonna be a lot of assembly videos now. We're kind of through the hard, nasty, filthy stuff on these 4 games at least for now. And now we're going to concentrate on getting those together before the end of the year, before my party, so I can have those games up and running. So that's going to end this video, guys. I think it's part 10. I'm not sure. I forgot to look and see what number my last one was. but we are to the point of the cabinet painted. Next, we need to get these loose parts finished up, and then we are going to start putting this stuff together. Now, when you're doing this stuff, somebody had sent me a comment early today saying that they like how far I go with these cabinets and how I like to try to get everything as perfect as possible. I do that because I challenge myself. I don't look at it as, could I not restore some of these and just put them and make them work? Yeah, but I want to preserve them and make them last longer. And by doing this type of paint work to them and the filler priming and all the Bondo, is I am sealing up this particle board that is really prone to swelling up from moisture. I am now putting a shell over top of it. I am preserving that wood so it can last as long as possible. And I'm not one to just say something is good enough. You know what I mean? I try to go past good enough. I want to challenge myself to, like, every time I do something, I want to do it better than I did it last time. But that's just how I am. Some people are not like that. But I just look at it this way. If I'm going to be restoring this game, why not do it to the best of my ability? Rather than just half-assing parts here and there, why not take it all apart? Why not just do it all the right way and be happy with it when it's done? I don't know, that's just how I am, but not everybody's like that. You know, I do have a couple games in the basement that I didn't restore because they were all original and they were still in good shape to where I didn't want to tear them apart. This had, like Spy Hunter, you know, artwork was all ripped up on it. It was falling off. You know, everything was filthy. We had a free play button on the front, all that stuff. I wanted to get it all squared away and cleaned up. Journey obviously was a converted game, had black paint all stuck on it, so once again that's why we went through that the way we did it. And once again, Journey is another particle board cabinet that needed to be addressed and sealed up properly so that it will last as long as it possibly can. Obviously, if these games get in a flood, then that might be a different story, but just in general, just the air and the humidity in the air with this automotive paint and everything on these cabinets should really preserve it for a long time. Kickman's another one. You know, the artwork wasn't horrible, but it was starting to flake, and you know, it's not going to stop once it starts. So I wanted to address that paint work and then put that clear over it once again to preserve the wood. So I do things like this because why not? If I'm working on it, I might as well try to do the best I can. So, all right, guys, I'm ending this video. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It costs nothing to subscribe. It just lets you know when I post new videos. You know, feel free to leave comments. I reply to pretty much everybody who sends me a comment, unless it's something stupid. Usually I'll still reply as well. But so, you know, I like hearing from you guys, so the more you guys send messages, cool by me. I have no problem. If anybody needs help, send me a message. I'll do whatever I can to help you out. I'll send you links. I'll tell you what kind of products I use if you're interested in that. We are going to be doing a video this coming up week. I'm going to get a folding table in the shop, lay out everything that I use to restore these cabinets as far as the bodywork end of it. I'm not going to do the electronical end of it because that's a huge variable, and but we can at least do all the bodywork stuff, all the materials, all the fillers, all the primers, all the paint, everything that I use, so that hopefully you guys can watch those videos if you're kind of wondering what I'm using. I try to mention it in every video, but I'm sure I forget some things here and there. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later.